a war with Hezbollah and Israel, from everything that I'm seeing, is really imminent. Falafel is at the bottom of the list for me, but that is one delicious Lebanese style falafel. Hamas is not Hezbollah, and Hezbollah is not Hamas. Shalom Chaverim, Ahlan wa Sahlan. Welcome to Tel Aviv. We are here in Israel still, and today it's going to be a quick one. I've taken a lot of feedback from you guys on length of the videos, stabilization, keeping things on point, focused. So today's video is going to be pretty short and to the point, but first of all, we're going to go to a restaurant. מצלמה גופרו. נצלם סרטון על תל אביב. תגיד, בעל המסעדה לבנוני במקרה? לא? חומוס, חציל ותחילה. זה סבתא של בעל הבית לבנוני. סבתא של בעל הבית לבנוני. אז המשפחה כאילו הגיעה מלבנון? קצת. וחצי... חצי איפה? כפר נפתח. כפר נפתח. איפה זה? בצפון. בצפון. תודה רבה. שבת שלום, תודה אחי. Alright, there we go. We got a falafel from Hummus Beirut here in Tel Aviv, which is actually going to be the topic of our discussion today. It's Lebanon. I'm going to be trying to rationalize a position I've never done today on camera and actually make an appeal to an audience I've never reached to. And we'll see what happens. But for that, let's walk down to the beach a little bit. Wow, folks. Absolutely fantastic falafel. Look at that green color. And honestly, when it comes to all the things that you could shove into a pita in the Middle East, falafel is at the bottom of the list for me. I much prefer meat, shawarma, things like that. But that is one delicious Lebanese style falafel. That's amazing. All right, should we tackle into today's topic as I slowly eat my delicious falafel breakfast? Here's what I want to start by saying. Isn't it crazy to imagine that in Lebanon, a country that borders Israel, where I currently am, there's a population of people who are currently firing rockets and like some serious firepower, not the shittily made rockets that Hamas fires, but actual properly made, really good high-end technological weapons from Iran towards other Lebanese people and other Palestinians and other Arabs. Isn't that crazy? Just one more time to break it down. Isn't it insane? What a good falafel. That there are Arabs that identify as Lebanese firing rockets at other Arabs that identify as Lebanese, and doing it in the name of freeing Palestine while also firing rockets at Palestinians. Isn't that crazy? Now, if any of that didn't sound crazy to you, then you're either very familiar with the Middle East or with Middle East politics in general, because that's actually exactly what's happening right now. You currently have people who are pretending to fight for the rights of people firing at their own people and actively trying to kill their own people. So this video is kind of a plea. I really want to try and stay as respectful and unbiased as possible and understand where victims of these situations are coming from. But to give some personal context, for the last 3 to 4 months, some of my family members and a lot of my very close friends have been stationed on the northern borders of Israel to defend and protect the incoming rocket barrages from the terrorist group, not Islamic militant group, but properly use the term terrorist group, Hezbollah, which means the party of God in Arabic. The the decisions of Hezbollah do not, for the most part, represent the decisions that people want to be seen and made in Lebanon, and most certainly not in Beirut, in the capital city. As opposed to Palestine and Palestinians as a whole, who do actually overwhelmingly support Hamas, and that is something that has been documented well over the past couple of years, and obviously since the horrible October 7th massacre that happened here in Israel. Hamas, or Hezbollah, and the terrible Iranian government are not actually supported by their people. And so this video is a plea. It's a plea to stand up, because from everything that I'm seeing on the news, Hezbollah, the attacks are getting bigger, and a war with Hezbollah and Israel, from everything that I'm seeing, is really imminent. There have been non-stop rockets fired from Lebanon, from southern Lebanon into Israel for the last 3 to 4 months. Over, I think it's around 80,000 people now have been evacuated from their homes in Israel and are actually living here in Tel Aviv. One of the reasons why I brought you guys here is the people who live in the northern borders of Israel. All of the north of Israel has been evacuated to these hotels on the coast of Israel, in Tel Aviv, in the big cities, the only places that can actually host 80,000 refugees. And for all intents and purposes, there is no way to relocate those people anywhere other than their own homes. And as a government and an army in Israel, there's going to be no option soon. Now, obviously, similarly to Hamas, the concept of, I would say, a term called Islamic supremacy or Arab supremacy over the Middle East and the Levant is something that reigns really supreme in the ideology of these people. And the sad part is that, you know, I'm not going to say it's okay to have that belief, and having a belief that, you know, Allah is going to liberate your country or make you conquer more land or help you take over the countries and the places that you want to take over. I'm not going to say that that's okay, but I can understand it as long as you're not acting upon it. If you're something you're just like hoping for. But as we saw with Hamas and the horrific ass whooping that they got, and then obviously all the collateral damage that innocent civilians in Gaza are dealing with till this day. I mean, it is fucking cold out here in Israel, and I can only assume how horrific the conditions in Gaza are right now for the innocent civilians that are living there. But taking all of that into consideration, Hamas is not Hezbollah, and Hezbollah is not Hamas. Hezbollah is significantly more overpowered. There will be a lot of damage on both sides. But, you know, when you analyze this conflict and you see what's being done in the name of spreading the word of Islam or liberating people, it just rolls into hypocrisy. And I'm going to break that down for you guys right now. This is the next segment that I want to talk about, which is the hypocritical part of this. But check this out. This is cool. A little half pipe in here that reaches towards the ocean. Beautiful waves today to surf too. So I'm really making a bit of an appeal with this video. If there's any Lebanese people watching, I just want to remind you guys, as I ate in Hummus Beirut today in the morning, when I started filming this video and got a falafel, I could have easily asked for tabbouleh and, you know, kube or kibbeh, however you pronounce it in Lebanon. Us two are not so different. And because of the actions of people above us, we've been pinned against each other for the last almost 100 years. And that's a really sad truth, because it's well known that the people in Lebanon across the country do not support overwhelmingly Hezbollah by any means. And my appeal is simple. In the same way that the people of Iran are completely oppressed by their government and cannot stand up against it, I know that that's not exactly the case in Lebanon, and there is still time to save your country. Because the sad reality is that if we go to war, if Israel goes to war with Lebanon, my real fear is the people in Beirut, the people in the big cities that are going to suffer because of the actions of people in the south of their country that are not, they've never been slapped around. You know, sometimes when you have a kid who's misbehaving, slapping someone up, like giving them a wake-up slap. Like, hey, in Hebrew we have a saying, "Titapes al atzmecha." It's like wake up, like get over yourself. That's never happened to the leaders of Hezbollah, because I think there's been years of cooperation between the Lebanese government and Hezbollah, and for some part the Lebanese people. But I think that in the time we're in right now, and the feeling of uncertainty that most Israelis feel, I mean, there is a feeling of tranquility, an element of it, but for the most part, all of this, everything you see here, this beautiful city and society that's been built here, it's I think it feels like it's hanging by a shoelace, by a thread at the moment. Like at any moment, it feels like all of this could end and pop off. And I think that's the feeling that a lot of people in Israel at the moment are feeling. Particularly the people who are living in the north, who have had to been evacuated down here. Because being 4 months out of your own house it's unrealistic. You can't actually live like that. You're essentially homeless. And I think that the people of Lebanon, maybe ones who watch YouTube videos who make it to this video, can resonate with the fact that we're not actually enemies. Your country has been hijacked by an insane genocidal terrorist group that is actively trying to destroy your country from the inside out. And something that I think is very clear to all these terrorist proxies that Iran has been funding throughout this war is that whether you're the Houthis, whether you're Hamas or Palestinian Islamic Jihad, or whether you're Hezbollah, Iran does not have your back. They might be sending you weapons, and they might have supported you for a while, but it's only gotten you into the shit show that you're in now, which means you're going to have to face truth soon. And when I mean you, I mean unfortunately the innocent civilians in Beirut who truly have nothing to do with this. I'm talking about people who are Lebanese, who are Christians, who don't even believe in Islam. Not that all the Muslims in Lebanon are bad or anything like that, because there's plenty of Muslims in Lebanon who don't believe in all this bullshit. But you are going to have to take on the fault of your leaders, and there's no way out unless you make a change. Because here, like in this country where I'm at right now, we are all feeling it. Everyone's feeling it. We want the people in our country to feel safe and happy and fruitful. And I want to get into the element of that hypocrisy and what I was talking about, because I kind of branched off. Did you know, especially if there's people who are from Lebanon watching this video, did you know that there are hundreds to thousands of Lebanese people living in the north of Israel? Ethnically Lebanese, their practices are Lebanese. They practice a particular Lebanese Christianity, and there's sects of Lebanese Muslims who live in the north of Israel peacefully. Did you know that there are Palestinian Arabs in the form of Bedouins, Druze, and Palestinian Christians who live in the north of Israel? All of which have either been evacuated or their lives have been extremely changed because of the fact that Hezbollah is firing rockets at them as well. Yes, there's a lot of Jewish people there. And if your goal is to kill Jewish people, then you're targeting the right area. But when targeting that area, you're also firing rockets at your own people frequently and killing some of them. And that's crazy, because you're not only losing support from the exterior, because everyone's seeing what you're doing is not just, but you're losing support from the interior. The people who are supposed to support you, your own people, are noticing that you're destroying their lives. And you're about to destroy a hell of a lot more people's lives with the same rhetoric that you're going off of. And so my appeal is this. I don't know what it's like to be Lebanese. I don't know what it's like to live in Beirut. I don't know what it's like to deal with the collapsing government that has been going on there for so long. But I know that there's power in numbers, the same way that the sort of false Free Palestine cause has taken over the world which doesn't actually lead to anything because at its core it's kind of broken and corrupt. As we can see, i.e. with everything that's happened recently with the UN and UNRWA, you can see how corrupt that cause is. There is power in numbers. And if we actually stood up against Hezbollah as a people together and as your own people, there's a very good chance to end this from people to people rather than government to people or army to people, faster, more efficiently, and with a lot less destruction and death. And I think that's the best, personally, I think that's the best course that can be taken. And you better believe your ass if people in Lebanon, in Beirut, would start standing up against this horrific terrorist group Hezbollah, who is going to destroy their country. You better believe that people all across Israel, probably all across the Middle East, and obviously all across the West, are going to support in droves. But obviously it takes courage. It takes a fear that I can't relate to, and it takes a sense of imminent peril, because people's lives will be put in danger from doing something like that. But when you break it down as to where we're in right now, oh look, a rat. That's interesting. I haven't seen a rat in broad daylight like that in a long time. That's crazy. There's a little rat under here. Sorry, I got distracted. I have ADD. At the moment, the way that it is, we've got two enemies facing each other, and unfortunately, to end the insanity of one of the enemies, a lot of innocent people are going to be really, really affected by it in a lot of horrific different ways. And personally, I don't want to see it happen. I'll make this as a final note and a bit of a wake-up call for anybody who happens to be Lebanese watching this video and feels some sort of compassion for my voice and what I'm trying to do with this video. Look around you in the Middle East and in the Levant, and look at countries like the UAE, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Oman. Look at the path that they're on. Look at what can be achieved when you side with the correct side. And I know obviously correct side is a hard thing to say, you know, because it's all narrative at the end of the day, and lots of people have been hurt by lots of different sides. So I understand that perspective. But look what happens when you side with the side that's going to bring you to a more productive life. Look at what happens is when you stand for people to live somewhat equally valued lives. I say somewhat because obviously there's not equality throughout the whole Middle East and these countries. That's not exactly the case. But look what happens when you choose that side. From everything that I've seen traveling to these different countries and experiencing and hearing from people in these different countries, it's an immense sense of prosperity. And honestly speaking, if Lebanon, and the south of Lebanon more particularly, continues on the path that it's on, we are heading towards a very, very, very dark future for the people of Lebanon, and again for the people in the big cities in Beirut. It's not going to be pretty. I don't think so. And I, as an Israeli, do not want to see that happen. I really don't. So that's my plea. That family in the Hummus Beirut restaurant, I asked them actually openly, is the owner of the restaurant from Lebanon? And he said no, it's a mix of Palestinian Arabs and Lebanese who moved here, but Palestinians from the north of Israel who have conjoined together, and the family is of Lebanese descent. So just so you guys know, even here in Tel Aviv, in the biggest city in Israel, far, far away from the northern border, I mean it's not that far, but far away from the northern border, there are Lebanese people living here. And there is a Lebanese diaspora in Israel. People who have sought refuge, sought a better life from the violence that goes on in southern Lebanon and the corruption that happens in the center and in the north and in the big cities. So these people should have a voice too. And I don't think they should have rockets fired at them by anyone, including their own people. You guys have been very vocal in the last couple weeks since I've been posting every day on what you guys want to see me produce. The algorithm has been very clear that it only wants me to talk about these kinds of topics, and I'm here for it, guys. I'm here. I'm going to do it. I appreciate you guys with all the support. You guys have said have a more stable camera. I'm doing it. Better audio. I'm trying. Keep the videos shorter. I'm I'm trying to do that as well. And hopefully we'll get this channel back on a path of success through many falafels and shawarmas and Middle Eastern politics. I don't think there's any way in hell I can sustain this daily upload schedule that I've been spoiling you guys with for the last week or two. I'm gonna have to slow down because it's very difficult to produce videos every single day, but I appreciate you guys bearing with me as I get the channel back on track. These next few video topics are gonna have to be very touchy, especially in the realm of politics, to sort of grasp the algorithm back and help me boost my channel back up to where it was before. So I appreciate you guys for watching very much, and I'll see you in the next one. I love you long time. Goodbye, Clydes.